You wrote a very poignant article recently entitled "How a Black Man's Road Trip is Different Than Anyone Else's."
Yeah.
And in it, you describe your experiences traveling around both the U.S. and in Canada. And it reflects the what's going on in North America and really around the world right now. And I urge everybody to go to Vacay.ca and read that piece.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. I
Of
appreciate that.
course, of course.
Um, yeah, well, I felt like I had to, I wanted to say something with the death of George Floyd. I needed to say something, I express myself, because for the first time, and I've listened to different newscasts, different people talk. What's different this time is that there's so many people who are actually listening and who are appalled by what happened to George Floyd. And in places like from Guelph, Ontario, Ottawa, all over the place, people are out there marching, different backgrounds, different people of all different backgrounds, and they're saying, no, stop the hate. We need to listen. I can't breathe. And it's just been wonderful to see. And I was just aching to say something. And I found that the road trip tied into the road trip today. And I think that many people go through that based on their history of dealing with road trips, and also what's happening in the world, where people are genuinely afraid of what could happen. And I realized that it is in my head. It was in my head. When I go on a road trip, I have driven in Philadelphia, California, different places, Buffalo. But yeah, there's a feeling I have when I cross that border. And I'm thinking, okay, no, don't give the police any reason to mess with you. Do not put yourself in a position to ever have anyone ask you questions. Make sure that don't stand out. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about these things that a lot of my inner voice was literally my dad's voice. It's him saying, don't drive that kind of car. For goodness sake, do not speed. If people can break the law, they're going to catch you. They're going to catch you. They're going to catch you. And that was what I was trying to get into my article, that even today, I hear my dad's voice talking to me about certain things when it comes to how I conduct myself out in public. And what's amazing with that is my brother Alex is actually a police constable with the Vancouver PD.
Okay.
And my father, for a short time, was a police officer in the Caribbean. So it's not like police are not good people. There's many great people in police forces all over the world. But when I, as a black man, travel out, I know in my head I'm going, do not screw around, do not mess around. Again, if 1,000 people can break the law, they're going to see you first. So that's what drove the article. And I just recognized how the voices of people who've gone before me and my father speak to me very clearly whenever I feel I'm out in public. When I'm in a grocery store, when I walk into certain stores, my hands are open where people will not follow me. When I am driving, when a police does pull me over, sometimes for a legitimate reason,
Right.
right? But
Right.
my hands are firmly on that wheel, firmly on that wheel. I'm thinking about that kind of stuff because I know. Look, uh, you just need that one guy, and black people are killed all the time, not necessarily by evil police forces. It's that one guy, or that one or two guys who have that bad attitude toward black people or Aboriginal people or women or whatever it is. So that's what drove that article, and it meant a lot to me to write it, and I'm really happy I could express myself in it.
How long did it take you to write it, Rod? And how challenging was it for you to put pen to paper to write it? Was it fairly easy, or did it take a long time? Did you have it inside of you and it was waiting to come out, or was it a challenge to, for example, my mind sometimes goes much faster than my mouth, right?
Welcome to the club.
Right. And so how long did it take you to write it, and was it a challenge to write it?
It was a challenge to write it. I have to give my my friend and editor Adrian Bishopsy a lot of credit too, because we're both people of color, and we're able to talk and bounce things off, you know. And there was a couple times that he'd say to me, Rod, tell your story, tell your story. Don't try to write an essay. Just tell your story, because what's interesting is my story, and the more I told my story, the easier it was to write it. That makes any sense. I guess I was trying to write a story at first, but once I switched to this isn't about trying to make some big point. I'm just gonna tell how I feel when I drive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell how and once I began to do that, the story began to flow a lot easier, and it was actually a bit of a lesson for me. I really did enjoy telling my story. So to answer your question, it was hard. It was hard to get to what I wanted to say. But once I understood what I had to do, it came out like it came out pretty good.
Right. Well, I enjoyed reading it, and I
Thank
felt the
you.
words come out. I could feel your voice in the words when I was reading it, and I
Thank
urge everybody to go to Vacay.ca and check that out.
thank you.
What do you hope readers learn from it, and what type of emotion do you hope readers walk away with?
Empathy, I hope, is a big one. I want folks to have empathy, not just for me, but for the fact that there are people in our world who go through things that you may not understand, given your perspective. And that includes me too. This isn't a lecture. I mean, to give an example, my wife, she'll come downstairs in our kitchen and she'll say, you didn't lock the patio door. And I'm like, well, it's daylight, like blah blah blah, I mean, but she said, I feel safer when that patio door is locked. I feel safer in my home. I can think it's silly all I want. I can think it's ridiculous all I want. But the fact is, my wife has an experience. Many women have an experience of not feeling safe in certain situations. They want to make sure that their doors are locked, or that they've taken safety measures when they go out on a trip. That there's a reason why a woman, for example, I'm not talking for women, by the way. I'm just talking as an observer about. There's a reason why a woman will guard her drink, right? Even around friends, she'll guard her drink. Why? Because they have a different perspective that I don't necessarily feel or see. Right. And that goes for me too. I guess I wanted people just to understand that there are people out there who do have a perspective that we don't often see or feel, and it's something that we can all do better at. I can do better at it. I think we can all try to understand that people in this world are going through things. I will never understand what it is like to be a homosexual. I have no idea. But I do know I've talked to people who are, and then they've explained how they feel in certain situations. And I guess what I wanted from my article, to answer your question, is just more empathy and understanding that there are issues out there, and that it is possible to be a big, strong man and be afraid of making a mistake that can get you injured or killed or arrested.